Take it all with a grain of salt, do your research, but at the end of the day, don't overthink it.
And we're live from the Iron Fortress studio in Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah, you kind of have a little bit, and I like this, you kind of have a little bit like Chopper 7. We've got the white Nissan Altima. It's going about 89 on Highway 70.
Chopper 7?
What do they call it? What?
Oh, I'm like the
you're in the air. You're recording, or not in, I guess the reporter isn't in the chopper, right? They're just.
You know what I don't like about this? Is that I don't even get to be like head anchor. Like I'm not doing like right after work headline news. You have me being the guy that's doing.
I mean, you're on location. You're on location because you have this like ethnically ambiguous look to you. If I put a sombrero on you, it fits.
Okay.
If I throw you in like a what are those things called? Like a kimono? Like you're good to go there?
Right. No. Yeah. A kimono.
I'm just saying, dude. You have a good look, a timeless, ethnically diverse.
I could switch
look.
really quick. I could switch. I could go from kimono.
Yeah. You could
and
wear both.
Look like Steven Seagal.
You could wear don't stay Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal, but better with a beard. And
We're gonna talk about Steven Seagal this episode because that's how heated I am about him right now.
All right, so before we dive into that, everyone,
all right, sorry.
Today's official podcast one of Big Man Problems. You've got your boy Zach Weibert over here, co-owner of the Iron Fortress Gym.
Well, I'm the owner. You're the co-owner.
And we have Nate, who is the CEO of the Iron Fortress Gym, and Zach Weibert is assistant to the regional manager.
That's the exact joke I was going to do.
Really?
I'm really bummed about that.
Oh, got it. I got it first.
Yeah, you won. You're the better man this time.
The Iron Fortress Gym in Columbia, Missouri. We want to thank them because we own it, and we also want to thank them for being our primary sponsor.
And I'm not biased by any means when I say this. This is just empirically true. What a great bunch of guys that own that place. And what a world-class facility.
What a team they have.
What a team.
And
you know what I mean?
You can find...
charisma for days also.
Looks, charisma, knowledge, dance moves.
I'd say triple threat, but that'd be underselling us.
I almost ripped off my headset right there. My hand got caught.
That's hot.
TheIronFortressGym.com. Go there. Look at it. Realize that.
Bookmark it. Save it as your homepage.
They have amazing merch. And on top of that, they'll help you get stronger.
Yeah,
they'll help you get stronger. It really is. I mean, for the last 7 years probably, and I've heard this many times. It's like you're looking for a gym to get strong. You're looking for some coaches to help you get strong. Mm-hmm. No matter what discipline it is. Mm-hmm. That's the place you go here.
Preach.
We
don't publicly we don't advertise as life coaches. But I'll figure that out. You know what I mean? You got a problem? Bring it to me.
We can talk about that later. That's that's actually, honestly, I wanted to bring that up to you, but that's what's going to be my training question segment of the day.
Oh, sick.
I'll bring that up later.
Okay.
So we're starting off today with Big Man Problems.
Yeah, so this is going to be Big Man Problem number 187.
Okay. I like it.
And I started with that one. You might ask why we're going out of order. It's because of the time of year, Nate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're running into a time of year. Of course, we got to knock out Halloween real quick. But after Halloween, the time of the year is it's the season of finger foods. It's the season of family gatherings, friend gatherings, and potlucks, and all that stuff. So the Big Man Problem number 187 is everybody's looking at my tiny little Dixie plate that's just packed to the brim, full of like cocktail
this
wings,
is a good one,
and full of dips galore. Look, dude, for me to hit my like 4,000 calories a day, do you know how many of those little Dixie plates I need to eat? Not only that, this dovetails well into part B of 187, which is just shared food in general. If we have chips for the table and we run out, everybody's looking at me like I did it. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I do. That is true.
Yeah.
But it's like when we run out of food okay, and I know we can talk at length of this, and we're going to run into other big man problems that are similar but not the same.
Yeah.
But the relative that's like, eat up. I know you're hungry.
I was just gonna say that. I know you've gotten this 1,000 times, probably more than me. You probably get this all the time.
Hey.
Because
I don't like what you're saying.
Because between the two of us,
Look.
You thick.
You're right.
You thick.
You're right, and everyone knows it, but I don't like that you're right. Now,
No, this is it. You better go through before Nate goes through.
yeah,
Otherwise, there's not going to be anything left. Am I right? And you get the elbow.
yeah.
And you're like, hey, that's funny, Steve. Okay, you're 180 pounds.
Which would be totally uncalled for if we did that to them, whatever their thing was.
Yeah, I'd be like,
You going to have somebody help you read those instructions because you're illiterate.
you better go through 3 times, Steve. Because you're the same size as my wife.
Somebody better go help Steve tie his shoes because he's leaving. He's a moron.
Yeah, I'd be like, I noticed you got Velcro straps on your shoes. No laces.
Yeah. I noticed that you voted for Biden. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's such a real thing, how often that happens.
Now, again, because of the time of year, I'm trying to really be grateful and be, thank God for grace and thank God for, what he's given me.
Great.
What I like on the opposite end of Big Man 187 is that, for me, it's my mother-in-law. But for that family member who isn't making fun of it, but she'll make an extra steak.
Yeah.
And just low key is like, hey, I have plenty up there. Go if you're hungry.
It has its perks. It also has its perks.
Well, I think that just points out there's a right and wrong way to do everything.
Right. Well, this all started for those of you who are just, if you just chime into this and you don't know who we are,
you're idiots.
You're idiots. But I don't mean that. I apologize. I don't mean that.
Please subscribe.
Zach, apologize.
Please subscribe.
Is that Zach and I are big guys, and when you are around another big person, there's a 240-pound person, and they're 6 foot. That's a big dude.
Yeah, that's a massive dude.
Zach and I are probably 3 or 4 inches taller than that, and 100 pounds heavier than that.
At least.
So it's like we're
trying to cut weight to be 100 pounds bigger than that.
Yeah.
And so we see people every day of our lives trying to get over 200 pounds. And keep in mind, as far as the world's concerned, 6 foot, 190, 195, that's a big cat.
200 pounds is considered that's the...
If you're walking down a dark alley and you see a guy coming the opposite way that's like 5'11", 195, you feel some kind of way about that. There's a threat. There's a threat on the scale there. But I guess for me, I'll speak for myself. Since my freshman year in high school, probably a little before, but freshman year in high school, 6'1", 220.
Yeah.
So I'm 15. So now I'm 36.
Yeah.
So for more of my life, for over half my life, I've been over 200 pounds.
Yeah. I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day. I don't even remember the last time that I was under 200 pounds.
Well, because even at your smallest as an adult, weren't you 215?
Yeah, I was 220 my freshman year of college.
Back when you looked like Skeletor.
Yeah, it was.
It's really good that you grew that hair out. I was just saying.
Don't be mean.
I'm not, dude. I'm just saying.
Don't be mean.
You don't look like a cake pop anymore.
Hey. I had other hairstyle. I buzzed my hair because I was sick and tired of dealing with it. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to be a half Guatemalan giant with horsehair on the top of your head. Okay?
I get it, dude.
It's not fun to deal with, so I shaved it. And, do I look better with hair? Probably yes. But anyway, back to the original thing. The state of plates that you get at those things. At those events,
it depends. How high do you want my blood pressure to get? Because I can get really heated about.
No, I'm talking about you go to one, and it's outside probably. Maybe there's a bonfire, whatever else is going on. They're so thin.
Yeah,
and I'm not. If the layout, if the spread at the table, there's some real dimes in there. We're talking just a layout of delicious variety. I'm stacking my plate.
Yeah.
And I may do that 2 or 3 times.
Right.
And I'll grab 4 or 5 plates, maybe 6, if they're those super crap like these right here.
Yeah, especially if you're serving a real hearty dip. And there's 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite end. I've got to go.
Hearty dip was your nickname in high school.
Well, I had a lot of them, but that was one of them. It was one of my least favorites. But if I've got buffalo chicken dip and I put it right over my hand for integrity reasons, and by the way, it's burning my hand because it came fresh out of Aunt Janice's crock pot, and then I go Janice. A couple meatballs next to it because you got to.
Yeah,
it's sure. Now it's bending in the middle, you know?
No, it just blows my mind.
And by the way, you have to do that because the obvious answer is just do a little bit and go eat it. But then I'm making 13 trips and just compounding the problem. Like, oh, Zach and Nate have made their 19th trip up there.
and you know what? It's like most of this stuff I think is self-projected on ourselves because most people are like,
yeah, except for the people that say it.
Exactly. Right. Yes. But majority of people are most of the time in that boat of like, oh man, like eat up, get your fill, you know? But I feel bad taking 9 plates in order and stacking them so that way I can hold
what most
the
people
amount of
don't
volume
know
of
is,
food I'm putting on it.
What most people don't know is we're environmentalists. So I'm not trying to kill the trees, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
As you know, I'll speak for the trees, as the Lorax says. But I guess to wrap this up in a neat little bow, going into this time of year where we should be thankful for what we have, just remember the big guy at the party, at the family gathering, at the whatever, at the holiday party, whatever it is. He doesn't want to hear your little quips. If I had to call it something, I'm going to call it Potluck Massacre. Or like
potluck disrespect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's just, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah. I had something I was going to talk. Oh, speaking of eating a lot, I wanted to say this because I'm pumped just for my well-being about this.
Awesome.
I've had earlier today, I took a dump that was like 4 days in the making. And I'm not saying I was constipated at all. I'm just saying like,
yeah,
I had one brewing that like, dude, I feel a lot better. That's all I'm saying.
Dang. Did you, were you at work?
No, I was at home. And it's best to have it a home game whenever that happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, because there's no timeline.
But I'm also not bashful. You know that about me. I'll stop on the road and go to a rest stop. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I will too. I will too. But I'm just saying that there's something about it.
Yeah, you know the terrain.
Yeah, and there's also there's just less pressure.
Yeah, Also, I took one here at the gym earlier when I was waiting on you. Cheeks went straight to porcelain. Didn't look. Sat down with no seat. And
the seat was up.
The seat was up, which is weird in a men's restroom in a stall
that has a urinal.
Yeah, weird, right?
Yeah.
Is it weird? I kind of liked it for a second.
That's interesting that you would say that.
It's wider. You know what I mean?
I could understand me, liking more space, but I don't understand why you would.
Hey. Can we talk about something?
Go ahead.
Just like in the Michael LeBron debate, whoever you have at number one, let's say Michael's number one, nobody's saying LeBron sucks. So just because...
I didn't say you suck.
Just because you have like you're pulling 2 wagons back there, doesn't mean that I'm not pulling a small trailer. Do you know what I mean?
Right. No, I think that I'm not saying that you aren't,
All right. What do you want to get into?
All right, well...
I really want to talk about Steven Seagal.
Okay, training talk of the day. All right, I had this pop up, and I wanted to get your take on it. Because this was something that I know that I've thought about before, but it just popped up when I was talking with somebody here at the gym. They say, hey, I've got 10 weeks till my next competition. And they say, hey, will you coach me into my next meet? And I'm like, I really wish, in my mind I'm thinking, I really wish that you would have said something to me.
Can I tell you why this is?
6 months ago.
I want to help you land this plane.
Okay.
The meet. So the problem is this is a sport, right?
Yeah.
Powerlifting is a sport. Strongman is a sport.
Yeah.
But it's a sport to measure strength. So what you're asking me to do as a coach to do your meet prep is saying, hey, will you help me realize the strength that I should have acquired over an off-season, preseason, in-season, like strength, hypertrophy, all this crap.
Yeah.
Can you help? Can you prime my CNS to hit singles? And it's like, you have missed the boat, sir.
Yeah.
You were asking me to do something in 10 weeks that I should have had 52 weeks to do.
Yeah, and it happens a lot. And it's kind of almost, what it is, what it feels like to me is it's like the strength sport equivalent to, hey, I got to go to the beach in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Get me ready.
Yeah.
Get me ready. Get my body ready. It's like, what?
I also...
You want to have abs in 8 weeks?
This is also
not going to happen.
A hot take, and I'm sure lots of people would argue with this. I think the peak and taper is the least important phase of the whole year. If you walk in there and you're not completely prepped to hit a single,
Mm-hmm.
there are worse things.
Yeah.
Like, what if you leave some weight on the platform, but in the grand scheme of like strength acquisition, like it's not the most important thing.
Yeah,
and also we could do a perfect peak and taper.
Mm-hmm.
You either don't follow it, or it's our first time working with you, by the way. So it's a little bit of a shot in the dark. What will work for you, depending on
Yeah, that's a great point.
your
Because you
strength
have somebody
level.
you've never worked with.
Yep.
And then they say, hey, will you do my prep? I've got
Yeah.
10 weeks.
It's kind of like, hey, you're a good pitcher. Why don't you hop in at the World Series and just take a few batters down? It's like, all right, yeah, we'll just start with a lot at stake here.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's like, yeah, okay, we can go through a peak or whatever.
Yeah,
But the real magic was supposed to be for the last 6 months,
right.
like of training and building up to this.
Yeah, and also I understand your body and your performance a little bit better.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like taking attempts, it's like, well, back in our strength phase, you hit this weight for a 3 and it was an absolute grinder.
Mm-hmm.
This might be our opener.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
yeah, and it's weird because I notice it all the time. Even on top of that, they'll say, "Hey, I got 10 weeks for a prep." We start to do their thing, and maybe they've fallen off a little bit, right? But Dave Tate talks about this, and I was thinking like, man, like he put it in such good words that I hadn't been able to
conceptualize.
Yeah, and he was saying that, I wish that I would have time to get you to the starting line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
you're right.
Isn't that a great way to put it?
Amazing way to put it.
Yeah. He says, I wish I would have had time to get you to the starting line, because now we're trying to do everything in 8 weeks for this prep, and we're already behind.
Yeah.
If we would have had time to build you up to this point, then you could have even had a better portion. And I'm gonna go out there and say this. I would rather somebody come to me and I coach them for their off season, and they frickin' Google 4-week peak.
Yeah.
And follow that.
Exactly.
Because
that would still bum me out, but that's also, you're right. That's
you know what I
better.
mean? I think that they would get better results from that, because then we have all this time to fix weaknesses, rather than we're 6 weeks out and they're like, hey, I'm feeling great because I'm actually resting now.
Right.
And can I add in another arm day?
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And that happens all the time too.
Well, not only that, is like, assuming that we've never worked with this person before, I'll stop speaking in generalities. General. I'm an idiot. So, a lot of times what I see too is like these serial competitors. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just always in meet prep.
Yeah.
I'm always in.
Yeah.
If you break it down to like what the strength and conditioning books say, there's like, because not every sport is a strength sport, right? So when we're training people, it could be for rugby. We've trained rugby players.
Yeah.
We've trained football players, baseball players. We've done it all.
Mm-hmm.
There's an in season. Mm-hmm. There's usually like a rest period after season.
Mm-hmm.
There's a post season. There's off season. There's you break it up into if you're a bodybuilder or somebody, you may call it mesocycles. You may call it there's like a lot of it. But if you're competing 5 times a year, you have 5 seasons in that year.
Yeah.
5 in seasons or pre-seasons in that year. Yeah. And there's not enough time to go through, hit the gambit of it. So also, like, are you recovered from that first one?
Yeah.
And you're on your third one? Are you, so to his point, getting you to the starting point is a great way to put that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying compete only once a year.
Right.
But if you did, you'd have a much more robust season. You know what I mean? Or group of seasons.
For sure.
Year.
For sure.
That's what I have to say about that.
No, and it's just an interesting thing, because it's just very interesting when someone who's been in the game, I mean, if they're brand spanking new,
yeah,
I get it, because then we can have that conversation and say, hey, if you want to do this meet, you've had it fully set on there. We've got 8 weeks. Right. Let's do it, but just realize that there is A, B, and C. And then let's adjust the expectations. Right. But, when we have people that have been training here for 5 years. We have people that have been training here for 5 years, and they've been lifting for years before that. And then, and this, and I'm not trying to call out anybody specifically, but I'm just saying, are you going another spicy packet?
I'm going to see what this does.
Dude, you're going to... Okay.
Die?
Well, and so I think that, I want to end out this segment saying that if you're looking to get a coach, if you're like, I've been powerlifting, I've been doing strongman, whatever it is, even in bodybuilding, if you're saying, I want to be a bodybuilder, I want to do bodybuilding, it's the same thing with diet.
Yeah.
I haven't had, I don't think either of us have, but I haven't had, I think I've had one. I'm working with one guy now, but I haven't had very much experience with that. But as I've been diving into that, I've been realizing that we're talking about, you're like, okay, I'm 10, 12 weeks out, 15 weeks out from a bodybuilding show. And it's like, we're going to bring up your triceps in 6 weeks, 8 weeks or whatever. No, it takes 2 years. It takes years.
Especially like drug-free and everything.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it's the diet.
Right.
There has to be, you can't say like, hey, I want to diet down and get to 10% body fat in this amount of time. And it's like, man, we're not even to the starting line yet.
Yeah.
And it happens with all sorts of things. So if
you're like you're 3 weeks out and there's a knee valgus on the way up and it's like, oh, this could have been addressed.
Okay, we should have been figuring out how to fix this. Yeah.
Or honestly, if you have any pain in your body, like I'm like, well, there's a lot of we could have done anyway.
Well, and then that's my takeaway from this. I want people to take with them is that if you're doing all of this, find and it's it's okay to look for a coach. You find a coach, you're like, this is not it for me.
Yeah.
But you got to give it a chance.
I think with anything, I've been doing this longer than I haven't been. I've been training since 14. I'm 22 years deep. There's no reason why I shouldn't give something 6 months. If I'm trying a new thing.
Yeah.
Your body just needs time. And again, this is in the absence of anabolics and things like that.
Right.
Or whatever else is on there, peptides, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Like some of those things can cover up some, some lack of robust training or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, just if you're going to I don't know what the best analogy for it is, but it would be like going at the end of the year to a tax professional saying, do my taxes for you, and then not providing them any of the documentation from that year.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Just do this for me, and I'm not going to help in any way.
Right.
And I'm not really going to give you a chance to do your job well.
Right. Yeah, and that's the frustrating part to me is that then...
And I'm going to judge your expertise.
Your coaching abilities.
Yeah, I'm going to judge this based off of my performance on the platform.
Yeah, and then it's crazy because it's like at first when I was first going through this whole process, I couldn't, bring it to fruition of like what I was like, why? I was like, I feel, if somebody didn't perform well, I'm like, okay, the peak didn't go great. What happened here? And I think that's just my personality of trying to take ownership of, what did I do wrong here?
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that there isn't. I think that you could peak somebody wrong.
Sure.
We've seen it happen. But
we've probably done it.
Yeah. And so, there is that element, but you're blaming this 8-week period of your entire year on your coach.
Can I flip this one on its ear?
Yeah.
I don't want to go too down the rabbit hole in this one either.
Okay.
The opposite is true for me also, which is, and we've both had this happen. I've probably had it happen more than you, just because I don't know. Maybe I haven't, but you get to train somebody. I'm a pretty meat and potatoes guy. I like a linear periodization.
Yeah.
It's not the most exotic sort of training.
It's not very dazzling. Yeah.
It's not going to blow your hair back. Ooh, this is fun. It's like I'm like the least conjugate person. I mean, I like dynamic and max effort as much as the next guy.
Right.
I do that, but
Right.
I'm not changing the bar out every time.
Right.
I've had not countless times. I've had a ton of times where people will hit all-time PRs, all-time meet PRs, and then the day after the meet, they're on to a new coach.
Yeah.
And fine. I don't want you if you don't want me. That's always been my thing. I'm not like banging on the door, beating the door down, trying to get you to use my services.
Right.
With that said, if something's working for you, and the opposite is true too. I've had people come to me for programming when they just hit massive PRs.
Right.
On literally a free program they found online.
Yeah.
I had a guy one time hit a 75-pound PR in a training block. He was like, hey, will you draw something up for me? And I said, absolutely not. your protocol is to do that again.
I've told people that too.
If your body's feeling good,
Yeah.
So there's no injury,
Uh-huh.
like you had adequate rest, why would you change that?
I just told the kid the other day, I said, come back to me when that stops working.
Yeah, because ultimately,
You're not.
I think this is why we suck as business people. To be, and I say that like tongue in cheek, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like if we wanted to make money,
Yeah.
we'd do this differently. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we've said that.
Money's secondary for us, or,
Yeah.
or maybe lower.
I have one of the, Alan Thrall has been around for a long time now. Over a decade, probably.
Yeah, just
and
a little
something
bit longer
he
than
said,
us.
he started his, well, no, maybe 8 years. Like, I think he started his gym just a little before we did ours.
Yeah.
And something he said is,
And it's weird because we're almost just as popular. That's what's weird.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Alan. I love you.
There's
Remember that
you kind of
time-
know Alan.
Remember that time we met at Nationals?
Yeah,
that was
you met
weird.
at Strongman Core Nationals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, that he said, I'm not coaching people to string them along.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my athletes to the point where they don't need me. And
Yeah.
I never forgot that.
I-
I really like that.
I do too. That's why, like, a big aspect of what we do, I can speak for you because I think this is true. We're coaching, but we're also educating.
Yeah,
But the difference, I will say, I think that's true of me, that I'm training where you don't need me, but I'm also training like I will train you the rest of my life.
yeah.
And that goes to what you're saying. I'm not interested in 8-week peak and taper. I'm more interested in week 1 of 1,000.
Yeah, and it's like let's take these steps, but I'm already looking a year out from now, immediately almost.
Yeah.
And so it's tough whenever that gets cut short on you because, and some people are just coach hoppers. That's a term. Some people just because they're like, you know what, I don't want to do this now, or like I'm not.
And you know what? If you're just interested, because I guess if I'm trying to be fair here, not everybody has our methodology and our mentality when it comes to training. We're training for quality of life. We're training because we like it. We're training, or at least I am, to get up and out of the floor when I have grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be strong forever. If I'm strong at 30 and in a wheelchair
Yeah.
at 50, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that's not your cup of tea, fine, dude.
Yeah.
Coach hop.
Yeah.
I will say this, devil's advocate. If your goal is to be a coach one day, maybe you should coach hop and see how it's done differently.
Yeah, and I
kind
don't
of
think
understand that.
And I understand that, and I just maybe some of it's communication, but I do realize that coaches, and I hear this a lot, and we've kind of had to just do this, is that you kind of have to start just people do their thing, and you just have to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times they're our friends, we know them.
Sure.
And so it's nothing. I try to not take it personal. Sometimes it feels like it is, but especially when it feels like you had it ripped out from under you and you were like, dude, you just hit, you just put 80 pounds on your total this last competition, and you're not a novice,
Right.
You
Right.
just put 70 pounds on your total, and you've been training for 5 years, 10 years.
Or you put 30, but that nagging pain you were dealing with is gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you put 20 and you're a weight class lower.
Yeah.
Or, what, fill in the blank. And
Yeah.
I do take it personal. This
Yeah.
is why, like, I would say out of the two of us, I'm much more emotional than you are.
Sure. But one thing that I was thinking about too was that, from the aspect of how we train people, I think we both, have a tendency to want to reel somebody in, because we've talked to a lot of people and we've coached a lot of people that say like, I'm going to be the next Larry Wheels.
Sure.
They say like and they're still here, and they still have that mentality of that they want to try to be the best. And so, maybe there's some things there where it's like you're not, maybe you can see that they don't necessarily have the genetics to do that, or maybe they don't, want to blast anabolics the same way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm willing to meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, all right, let's put everything into this, but also like you're gonna have to meet your end of the deal, because a lot of the time it's like, it's never about me. Like it's never about them. I mean, it's like, I need a coach who's gonna make me the best, and it's like, well, what are you doing for recovery? Are you spending all the money that it's required to do the kind of recovery to go match the training? What's your diet like? Usually garbage.
Yeah.
What's your sleep like? And it's like meeting you halfway. But I think that usually comes with like, hey, like you being the best in the world doesn't involve you like maxing out every week,
Yeah, I think the way I would put that for that guy who wants to be Larry Wheels for the mountain or whatever, because keep in mind, we had a client we kind of shared there for a while who was morbidly obese. He was like one of my favorite clients because that's the people group I love to work with, like
Yeah.
the people I'm going to add,
Yeah.
quality of life or help them add
Yeah.
quality of life. But day one can't hit parallel
Yeah.
and wants and who's
Doesn't have the grip strength to hold onto a barbell.
5'10" and like 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And he sets his sights on being the world's strongest man.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's going to take us a decade.
Yeah.
And
To see if it's even possible.
I'm not going to tell. Well, it isn't.
Right.
But I'm not going to tell you that because that sucks.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does.
I'm going to along the line. I'm going to try to.
Yeah, we're sprinkling in stuff.
I'm going to sprinkle in truth.
Yeah.
But hopefully with grace and love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, this isn't a 6-week program to get us there.
Yeah.
And I'm again.
And that's about all he trained. Maybe 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. You did a thing
Yeah.
for a while, and you got a history with it or whatever. But
Yeah.
with the person you're talking about, I find, tell me if you think this is true, it is not hard to get them to train. Like if these are all pieces of the pie, the piece that's intensity, like I can get you to max out every week.
Oh, yeah.
Your buy-in on that
Mhm.
is as good as anybody.
Right.
That's one piece of the pie,
Yeah.
and it's probably a 20-piece pie.
Yeah.
Like, are you hitting like the rotator cuff warm-ups? Are you hitting? Are you sleeping?
Yeah.
Are you laying off the booze?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that says like, well, if you want this, it's not just me giving you some magic formula.
I'm gonna say
'Cause that happened.
It might be a. I'm just having this thought for the first time, so forgive me. It's like all these pieces of the pie, with the exception of one, is overcoming that one. So the one piece of the pie is your genetics.
Right.
That's something none of us can change.
Right.
Even with anabolics, you can help.
It is what it is.
But it's like, can those other? Let's say there's 20 pieces. I can't say
20,
why that
yeah.
number. The other 19 pieces are overcoming what God gave you.
Yeah. And there's also that thing where it's like, what makes me laugh is that your pies have 20 pieces.
What's a giant pie?
And I'm not mad at it. The pie sounds really good right now. No, but I love that. I think you're right. Is that there are elements there, and some of them have real big weight to this total package.
Yeah.
And so, but I just want to end out on this saying, like, if you're going to do this and you're going to find a coach and you're going to dive all into that, then, realize that you need to think long term, and you need to coach. And there's good and bad coaches. I'm not saying there's not, but if you're not willing to stick to something for a year, and see what plays out, it's not about the 5 weeks that you peak into the meet.
Right.
It's about the entire rest of the year, and it's just one of those things. We deal with that a lot, and I was thinking about that because I had that conversation with somebody that, I gave you 6 weeks, and then because the peak didn't go well, which it probably wasn't going to anyway, because you didn't spend the year working on your weaknesses. It's like, it's a reflection on your coach's coaching, and it's like, well, probably not just that. You could like I said, you could follow some cheap generic free peak that you found on Muscle and Fitness magazine that gets you into heavy singles and then deload and go for it.
Yeah.
And it's gonna work. That's how the body works.
So my piece to add to end on this is, I'm going to start with a question. How many hours a week do you think that we have that we control our clients? Is it an hour 4 times a week? Hour and a half? Well, like what do you think?
Yeah, you're looking at max, 6 hours a week, 5 hours a week.
So there's 168 hours in a week. Imagine asking someone to help you do something in 5 hours out of 168.
Yeah.
And being upset with the results.
Yeah.
Like,
you're right. That's a great way of looking at it.
If you're not getting, like, or maybe a better way, maybe you train 7 days a week for some ridiculous reason.
Yeah.
There's 23 more hours.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you need to train all of them. Of course, I'm not saying that.
Right.
But I'm saying, like, even in your own research, like, we don't even talk about that. Like, are you reading? Are you reading any of these scholarly articles that's coming out there? Are you getting blood work done, whether you're on gear or not? Are you taking walks on off days? When
you have somebody that is, to add to that, when you have somebody that is doing all of those things, and they've been lifting a long time, but then they're also willing to say, like, I hired a coach. Like, I'm actually going to listen to what you say to do, and and follow the plan. But when somebody's like that, it's very fun, especially when they're a higher level, because if they are in that element where it's one of their favorite hobbies, like that's what they read about, that's their podcasts, that's their that it can be more of a collaborative coaching process. Because I think it's great in terms of that they know themselves well, and they know that this tweak or this little twinge isn't an injury, and they know, you know what I mean. That's really fun, because then you can say like, hey, you know what we're looking for here today. Yeah. If this top single, if your last warm up before your heavy before your top set feels a certain way, you know what I mean. Yeah. It's a better adjustments can be made, and those kind of things. So that's great. Like learn yourself. Like try to educate and learn to, make the whole process of your lifting career and your coach's life easier, and your own life easier.
I want to do one slight dovetail before we change topics and then ultimately land this plane. The other thing that really bothers me about those guys, the serial hoppers or whatever, most of the time that I've lost a client who just PR'd on the platform and whatnot, had a great whatever, it's usually to a guy who is stronger than me.
Right.
And I'm not really bitter about that, because everybody's, especially in powerlifting specifically, everyone's got more like different proclivities than others. Yeah. People are better than me as as coaches and as strength athletes both. Right. That exists. But why would you follow the guy in the gym with big biceps to get his big biceps? Because he probably got them genetically. And also, if he's just burst onto the scene, he also has a coach. Yeah. And then, hey, hit me up, DM me for coach. Like, I don't know. That just bothers me, because it's like
that's a massive topic.
All right. Everything you and I were saying about coach hopping and like not being coachable essentially is what that breaks down to. Mostly dudes.
Yeah, for sure.
I would, at this point in my career, much rather train a female, because not that there aren't, uncoachable or,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
They're just more willing, I feel like. They're more willing to and maybe that's just like a dude versus dude thing. Like I can't really listen. But I've even had here recently clients who they are, novice doesn't say it, they are pre-novice.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And by the way, for anybody listening, if it sounds like I'm hating on people, it's not. Everybody has their own life. Everybody has their own struggles. I understand there's extenuating circumstances. It's not wrong to be weak, but if you are weak and you are new and you are asking me for expertise, why are you arguing with me? Why are we doing this? If you're saying, hey, I experience pain when this happens, sure, man, I need to know that. Yeah. But if you're like, if I'm saying something and you're like, well, this, and this, I'm like, all right, let's try it your way. I mean, your way got you here, but let's keep trying that.
Right.
Anyway, on a positive point, it's about to be hoodie weather again.
Oh,
which
dude.
We're in mid-Missouri, so I can't speak for all you jabronis, because we are a worldwide podcast. This is my favorite time of year, for sure.
Dude, it's being able to toss on a hoodie. I've been trying to wear a hoodie.
Yeah.
And it's still too hot.
It's too much.
Because we had one day, it was 50, and then it was 30.
It's my favorite.
It was thrown on the hoodie, and the cold, crisp air when you walk outside. I'm like, this is it.
My favorite is like, oh, I didn't dress warm enough, and then by midday you're warm enough. You know what I mean? So it's like early morning is like, oh dang, it's nipply out here, but then midday it's like this is perfect. I want to try really hard this winter to be outside more.
Yeah.
I want to make myself go into the elements and like make my body regulate temperature.
I love it.
And do all that crap. Even if I've got to put on boots and go through the snow.
I love it. It's a really good element.
All right, man. Well, again, this podcast brought to you by Big Man Problem number 187. Call it Potluck Massacre. Or Potluck Jerks. I don't know.
Potluck Jerk Massacre.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll work on the running title of 187, but you get the heart behind it.
Right. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, like and subscribe everywhere where you listen to our podcast. Visit our store to pick up some merch. We're going to try to do better about dropping new shirts and stuff. Don't feel like you can't like, comment, subscribe. We want to also talk about topics you all want to hear about.
That's true. Leave us questions. Leave us questions in the comments.
Yeah, if you
we can cover some of that stuff.
If we answer your your question or something like that, maybe we'll send you a shirt or something.
We're going to be,
like
I'm going to work on getting a Patreon started and some of that other stuff, so be on the lookout.
Yeah, that's where I really get emotional. I'll cry all over
exclusive.
this beast.
Yeah, Zach goes off the chain, and also we probably are going to be doing like, more specific questions to people and answer their specific questions from like training and stuff. That's always a great thing.
I would say anything fitness. Honestly, it's
it's
not just because one of the this will be a whole other episode one day, but one of the points of our mission statement is just to help people, just decide between fact and fiction. There's a lot of information out there, in any topic, but as it pertains to fitness, there's like a lot of crap.
Yeah.
And then honestly, like since we've written that mission statement, I feel like it's even gone the other way, where there's like so many studies that conflict with other studies, and there's like it's some of those studies are not written in like common English. I feel like no
restrictions on questions.
Question is
if it's about interpretive dance. Zach can go down the rabbit hole on interpretive dance.
I have a broad
ribbon dancing. Is that what they call it?
Rhythmic.
Ribbon.
Rhythmic.
No, ribbon.
I know it's a rhythmic dance.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I thought you were just mishearing me. A ribbon. Rhythmic. Ribbon.
Hey, we love you. Check us out. We'll be back
very soon.
We're gonna do this weekly.
Yeah, we can. We'll have to decide on when we want to drop them, but
when we want to drop them.
When we want to
I always drop them when the feeling's right.
All right. Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
I'm just saying, like, whenever I have that good old feeling,
you just drop it.
Drop it like it's hot.
We'll have kind of a schedule down.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.